Some families have traditions. Mine has rituals. There's a crucial difference. Traditions are warm, living things, growing organically from a shared soil of love and authentic memory. Rituals are performances. They are rigid, well-rehearsed plays, staged with meticulous care year after year to uphold an image. Our Christmas dinner is the grandest, most suffocating ritual of all. The house, as always, is a sensory assault of manufactured cheer. The air is thick with the scent of roasting turkey, the sharp, clean fragrance of the perfectly conical pine tree in the living room, and my mother's overpowering rose-scented perfume, a floral cloud that seems to follow her, erasing any other smell in its path. It's a clean, aggressively sterile smell that never, not once in my 28 years, has managed to feel like home. The dining table is a masterpiece of artifice. The crystal gleaming under the chandelier, the china laid out with geometric precision. It's a photograph from a magazine, not a place where a family actually lives. And beneath this polished surface, the air is thin. You can feel it in your lungs. The tension is a silent, uninvited guest, seated at the head of the table. It's in the carefully chosen, utterly bland topics of conversation. It's in the way my father, David, carves the turkey with a surgeon's precision, his focus absolute, as if any deviation might cause the whole scene to collapse. I've felt it my whole life. This profound sense of otherness, like I'm a foreign exchange student who somehow overstayed her visa by nearly 3 decades. I love my parents, or at least, I love the idea of them. David and Martha Peterson, a solid, respectable, all-American name, but their love has always felt conditional. It's a reward for my performance as the quiet, agreeable, dutiful daughter. My older sister Nina is a natural at the role. She's a perfect, sharp focus reflection of them, from her sensible cashmere sweater to her easy, uncritical laugh. I've always been the odd one out, a slightly blurry copy, never quite in focus. And then there's Lucas, my fiancé, my anchor in this sea of quiet pretense. He sits beside me, his thigh warm against mine under the table, his presence a silent acknowledgement that he sees the play for what it is. He sees the cracks in the stage. He sees the actors behind their masks, and he loves me anyway. That, more than anything, feels like a miracle. What a wonderful meal. Martha, my father proclaims, setting down his fork with a sense of finality. The performance of the main course is complete, and now, my mother announces, clapping her hands together with a brittle, practiced cheerfulness that sets my teeth on edge for my favorite part. The ritual within the ritual commences. The annual, mandatory viewing of the family photo albums. She retrieves them from the dark wood bookshelf. 3 thick, leather-bound volumes that feel more like legal texts than family keepsakes. They are the official record, the evidence as she settles onto the pristine cream-colored couch, and we all gather around as she turns the heavy plastics Heath pages, narrating our lives back to us as if we weren't there. Oh look, here's Nina on her first bicycle, so determined, even then. And here's the trip to the Grand Canyon. Oh, Isabel, you were so scared of the edge, you wouldn't let go of your father's hand. I smile and nod, playing my part. I have no memory of being scared, but her narration has become the memory itself. I've seen these photos 1,000 times. They are the sanctioned documents of my existence, the proof that I belong here. Lucas, who has only been subjected to this ritual a handful of times, leans in, and to my surprise, he seems to be studying the pages with an intense, almost forensic interest. I watch his brow furrow slightly as he looks at a picture of me, age 6 or 7, perched on a sad-looking pony at a county fair. A forced smile plastered on my face. Then he flips the page back to a picture of me, supposedly a year earlier, sitting on a swing set, kicking my legs. He's quiet for a long, unnerving time, his gaze flicking back and forth between the two photos. As my mother drones on about a trip to Disney World, Lucas leans close to my ear. His whisper is so quiet, it's barely a breath, a ghost of a sound, against the backdrop of forced holiday cheer, but it cuts through the noise like a shard of glass. "Don't you see it?" he murmurs, his breath warm against my skin. "See what?" I whisper back, a flash of irritation rising in me. He's interrupting the performance. He's threatening the fragile piece. He doesn't answer. He just gives my hand a quick, urgent squeeze under the table. His eyes, those beautiful, honest eyes, look from the photographs to my face, and they are filled with a dawning confusion, a question he doesn't know how to ask. The ritual continues around us, my mother turning another page, but for me, the play has stopped. A tiny hairline fracture has just appeared in the very foundation of my life, and I can feel a cold draft seeping through. The drive home is wrapped in a thick, unnerving silence. The forced holiday cheer of my parents' house evaporated the second the car door clicked shut, leaving a heavy, unspoken question in the air between us. I'm replaying the last hour in my mind, over and over. Lucas's strange intensity, the squeeze of his hand, the look in his eyes. "Okay, you have to tell me what that was about," I finally say, the words feeling too loud in the confined space of the car. "Back there, with the albums. You were acting so strange. You were looking at me like you'd never seen me before." Lucas doesn't answer right away. He keeps his eyes on the wet, slick ribbon of road ahead, his knuckles white on the steering wheel. He signals, pulls the car over to the gravel shoulder, and shifts into park. He kills the engine and turns on the dome light. The sudden silence is absolute, broken only by the drumming of rain on the roof. "I didn't want to say anything in there," he says, his voice low and serious. "It wasn't the place. But I need you to listen to me now, and I need you to have an open mind." He reaches into the inner pocket of his coat. My breath catches in my throat when he pulls out a small stack of photographs. "Lucas, oh my God, did you steal those from my mother?" The accusation sounds absurd even as I say it. "I slipped them out when she went to get the dessert. I'll put them back, I promise. But you need to look at these, Izzy. Really look at them, without your mom's voice telling you what you're seeing." He hands them to me. There are 4 of them, glossy and cool to the touch. The one of me on the pony, the one on the swing net, my official first baby picture, a chubby infant wrapped in a pink blanket, and the family portrait, taken outside our old house on Maple Street. "Okay," I say, my heart starting to beat a little faster. "It's my childhood. So what?" "No," he says gently, his voice patient. "Look closer, at your face. Just your face." He points to the pony picture, then to the swing set picture. "Forget the background. Look at the smile. It's the exact same smile. The angle of your head is identical. The way that one strand of hair is falling across your forehead. It's the same photograph of your head, Izzy. I swear to God, it's been cut out and pasted onto 2 different bodies, in 2 different settings." My first instinct is to laugh. That's insane. You've been watching too many conspiracy documentaries. But I hold the photos closer to the dim light, and a cold dread begins to creep up my spine. He's right. It's subtle, the work of someone who thought no one would ever look this closely, but it's there. A faint, almost imperceptible halo around my head in both pictures. The grain of the film on my face is smoother, different from the slightly blurrier grain of the world around me. The lighting is wrong. In the pony picture, the sun is high and to the right. In the swing set picture, it's a soft, diffused afternoon light. But but the light on my face, the highlights on my cheeks, the shadow under my nose is identical in both. That's impossible, I whisper, my voice trembling. It must be a weird artifact from the photo developing process. It's old, okay, he says, his voice still impossibly gentle, though I can see the tension in his jaw. Now look at the baby. I pick up the picture of the infant in the pink blanket, the one my mother calls Isabel's first portrait. What about it? I ask, my voice defensive. You were born in March. Your mum makes a big deal about you being a Pisces. Every year, this baby looks like a newborn, maybe a week old. But look at the calendar on the wall, behind the crib. I squint, my eyes straining. It's a tiny detail, a background prop I've never once noticed in a lifetime of looking at this photo. A wall calendar with a picture of a sailboat. The month is clearly visible, printed in bold letters. July. A wave of nausea rolls over me. No, and this one, he says, his voice now filled with sorrow, handing me the final family portrait, the one they love so much. Look at the shadows. The sun is low in the sky, coming from the left. You can see the long shadows from the porch posts on the lawn. You can see the light hitting the side of your dad's face. But the shadow on your face, under your chin, it's coming from the front and slightly above, like a flash. You were added in, Izzy. Your shadow doesn't match your family's. You weren't there. I stare at the 4 photographs in my hands, these artifacts of my childhood, these pillars of my identity, these immutable truths, and one by one, they crumble into dust. The pony I never rode, the swing set I never sat on, the family vacation I never took, the month I wasn't born in. A lie, a lie, a lie, a lie. A sound bubbles up from deep in my chest. It's not a sob, it's not a scream, it's a laugh. A sharp, bitter, hollow laugh that sounds like it's being ripped from someone else's throat. It's the sound of a mind breaking, of reality fracturing into a million unrecognizable pieces. It's the laugh of a person who has just looked down and realized she's been standing on thin air her entire life. My childhood wasn't a memory. It was a meticulously crafted forgery. Sleep is a country I can no longer visit. Every time I close my eyes, I see them. The photographs, my smiling, disembodied head, pasted onto a life that wasn't mine. For hours, I lay in the dark, motionless, listening to Lucas's steady breathing beside me, while my own mind screams. I try to find a rational explanation, a life raft in this ocean of insanity. A bizarre, elaborate prank, a misunderstanding, but the cold, hard evidence on the coffee table, and the quiet certainty in Lucas's eyes, tell me otherwise. Denial is a fortress. For 28 years, I have lived safely within its walls. Now, those walls are turning to sand. If the pictures were a lie, what else was? What part of me is real? I slip out of bed, my feet cold on the hardwood floor. In the living room, bathed in the blue-grey light of the city, the stolen photos are laid out like evidence at a crime scene, which, I realize with a jolt, is exactly what they are. And a deeper, more terrifying question begins to writhe in the darkness of my mind. Why? Why would they do this? Why would my parents, the only parents I've ever known, go to such elaborate, desperate lengths to forge a history for me? The answer is a void, an absolute black hole in my personal timeline. I squeeze my eyes shut and try to remember. I can remember my 6th birthday party, the taste of the cheap, sugary icing on the cake. I can remember my first day of school, the rough texture of my new backpack straps. But before that, before the age of 5, nothing. A complete and total blank, a thick, impenetrable fog. My parents had always brushed it off. Oh, honey, that's normal. No one remembers being a toddler. I had always accepted it. Now, That acceptance feels like a profound betrayal of myself. I stare at the picture of the strange baby in the pink blanket, and the fog in my mind begins to swirl. It feels active, hostile even, like it's been guarding something. A spark ignites in the darkness, then another. They are not memories, not yet. They are sensations. Flash. A scent. It's the first thing that breaks through. It's not my mother's cloying roses. It's something else entirely. Something warm and bright and alive. Citrus, the clean, sharp smell of oranges and sunshine. It's inextricably tied to a feeling of immense safety, of being held by arms that were my whole world. A woman's face, soft and smiling, swims into view for a breathtaking second before being swallowed by the fog again. Flash. I'm in a room. The one that would later be called my playroom. My mother Martha's with me. But she's not my mother. The word that surfaces is nanny. That's what she was. The nanny. She's watching me play with wooden blocks. Her smile is a thin, painted line that doesn't reach her cold eyes. There is no warmth. Flash. I'm smaller now, a toddler. I'm pointing at that other woman, the one who smells of citrus, the one whose face I can't quite hold on to, and I'm saying a word, a sacred word, Mama. And the nanny Martha, her face darkens. The painted smile vanishes. She kneels down, her grip on my small arm suddenly too tight, her nails digging into my flesh. Her voice is a harsh, terrifying whisper that slices through the memory. No, you don't say that name. I am Mama now. Do you understand? You don't ever say that other name. If you do, she will go away forever, and it will be all your fault. The terror is absolute. It is cold and sharp, and it teaches me my first lesson. Silence equals safety. Flash, the final memory. The one the fog has been fighting the hardest to contain. It's the most visceral. I'm in a strange room. Not my room. The wallpaper has yellow flowers. The door is closed, and I can hear screaming from the other side. It's a woman's voice, a voice I recognize as belonging to the citrus smell and the feeling of safety. But now it's shredded with terror and loss. She's screaming a name over and over again, a name that echoes in the hollows of my skull, a name that sounds like Milena. The scream is raw, primal, and then it's abruptly cut off, and there's only silence. A silence more terrifying than the scream itself. The fog in my head doesn't just clear, it evaporates in an instant of blinding, horrific clarity. For the first time, I see the truth, not as a suspicion, but as a bone-deep, soul-shattering certainty. The photos weren't just doctored to create a happy childhood. They were created to cover up a crime, to erase the life that came before, to erase the woman who smelled of oranges. Tu eras mi, Lenan, tu eras mi. The memories don't just leak. They burst forth in a devastating, unstoppable flood. The dam inside my head breaks, and 25 years of repressed trauma comes roaring out. The scream from behind the door echoes in my own mind, and it becomes my scream, a silent, internal shriek of pure horror. The floor rushes up to meet me. I'm on my hands and knees on the cold kitchen tiles, my body convulsing, gasping for air that won't come. A full-blown panic attack, more violent than any I've ever imagined. My heart is a wild bird, beating itself to death against the cage of my ribs. The room is tilting, the edges of my vision blackening and closing in. The stolen years, the stolen name, the stolen mother, the sheer, diabolical magnitude of the lights, a physical weight, a mountain of concrete, crushing the air from my lungs. Isabel, what's happening? Hey, look at me, breathe. With me, in and out. Come on, Lucas is there, suddenly kneeling in front of me, his hands on my shoulders, his face a mask of frantic concern. He's trying to ground me, to to be the anchor he's always been, to pull me back from the abyss. But I can't be pulled back. I'm already over the edge, falling through a darkness that has no bottom. They took me, I sob, the words torn from my throat, raw and jagged. Lucas, they didn't find me. They took me. I know. It's okay. I'm here. We're going to figure this out. I'm right here with you. But figuring it out isn't enough. The truth is, a living thing inside me now, a wild, venomous animal clawing its way out. It needs a name. It needs a voice. I need to do something. I need to make it real, to drag it out of the shadows of my broken mind and into the world. I need to say it out loud to someone who can do more than just hold me while I fall apart. My eyes, wild and unfocused, land on my phone, lying on the kitchen counter where I'd left it. With a surge of adrenaline that cuts through the paralysis, I lurch forward, scrambling across the tiles and grabbing it. My fingers are shaking so badly I can barely punch in the passcode. Isabel, what are you doing? Lucas asks, his voice tight with alarm as he sees the screen light up. I don't answer. I can't. My finger hovers over the keypad, then presses the numbers. 9-1-1.acom. Professional, female voice answers on the second ring. 911. What is your emergency? The world stops. The ticking of the clock, the hum of the refrigerator, my own ragged breathing, it all fades. This is it, the point of no return. A single sentence to detonate my entire life. My voice is a choked, broken whisper, a sound I don't recognize as my own. I think I've been kidnapped. There's a beat of confused silence on the other end of the line. Ma'am, can you repeat that? I'm having trouble hearing you. Lucas sees the look on my face, the phone trembling in my hand, and he understands. He gently takes the phone from me. Hello? Yes, my name is Lucas Wright. I am here with my fiancé, Isabel Peterson. She's having a severe panic attack, but she's coherent. She has just uncovered credible, physical evidence that her parents may have abducted her when she was a small child. Her entire documented childhood appears to be a fabrication. We're at 1412 Willow Creek Drive, apartment 3B. Please, I think we need help. He is making it real. He is taking my shattered whisper of a truth and translating it into the official language of the world. The lie, which has been nurtured in the dark for over 2 decades, has just been dragged, kicking and screaming, into the harsh, unforgiving light of day. The police came. 2 officers, a man and a woman. They were gentle, professional, their faces carefully neutral, but their eyes were filled with a kind of weary disbelief. They listened, they took notes, they looked at the doctored photos. They called my parents, their voices low and official on the phone. They told them I had made a serious allegation and that I was safe with my fiancé. They said perhaps it would be best if they came over to clear things up. 2 hours later, they're at my door. David and Elena. I can't think of them as Martha anymore. They look old, shrunken. The confident, respectable masks they wear for the world have been stripped away, leaving behind 2 pale, terrified strangers. They stand in the middle of my living room, refusing Lucas's offer to sit. Alina is twisting the strap of her leather purse, her eyes darting around the room, looking at the walls, the furniture, anywhere but at me. David clears his throat, the sound loud in the tense silence. The police called us, Isabel, he says. His voice strained, attempting a paternal tone that now sounds grotesque. They said, you told them. A terrible, unbelievable story. I just stare at them. My heart is a cold, hard stone in my chest. All the fear and panic have burned away, leaving behind a glacial calm. Lucas stands beside me, his hand resting on the small of my back, a silent pillar of support. Alina finally risks a glance at me, her eyes immediately welling with tears. But they are not tears of remorse. They are the calculated tears of self-pity. The first move in a new performance. How could you, Isabel? After everything we've done for you, the schools, the clothes, the life we gave you, how could you repay us with this? This poison? The truth, I say, my voice flat and empty of the emotion she's trying to provoke. That's all I want. The performance is over. The word performance hits its mark. David lets out a long, shuddering sigh, the fight visibly draining out of him. He slumps onto the couch, a puppet with its strings cut. It's true, he says, his voice barely a whisper, directed at the floor. You are not our biological daughter. The words hang in the air, a confirmation that is both a profound relief and a fresh, gaping wound. But they are not done lying. They are just moving on to the next, more sophisticated lie. Your mother, Elena begins, her voice taking on a tone of rehearsed tragedy, a story she has clearly prepared for, a day she hoped would never come. She was a young immigrant from a war-torn country. She had nothing. She came to us. I was her employer, trying to help her get on her feet. She was a cleaning lady in the building where we lived. She knew she couldn't give you the life you deserved. She came to us in tears, Isabel. She got down on her knees and she begged us to take you, to give you a better life, a safe life. We did it for her. We did it for you. It was an act of love. It's a good story, a noble story, a story that recasts them as saviors, not criminals, and paints me as the ungrateful child spitting on their sacrifice. But it doesn't match the flashes of memory. It doesn't account for the terror. It doesn't account for the screaming. If you were helping her, I say, my voice lethally quiet, then you must have known her well. What was her name? They look at each other, a flicker of pure panic passing between them. They hadn't expected me to push. They expected their story to placate me. It was so long ago, Alina says quickly. Too quickly. I don't remember her name. Liar, I say, the word sharp and clean as a razor. I take a step toward them. The power has irrevocably shifted. I am no longer the confused child. I am the interrogator. The ghost they created has come back to haunt them. I remember a smell, oranges, and I remember screaming. What was her name? My father flinches, as if struck. He looks at my face, at the cold, unforgiving resolve in my eyes, and he breaks. The second performance of the night collapses. Mer, he mutters, shame and defeat heavy in his voice. He won't look at me. Her name was Mera Petrovic. Mera Petrovic. The name feels both foreign and deeply cellularly familiar. It's a key. After 25 years of being locked in a room with no name, they've just handed me the key. And they have no idea what a terrible mistake they've just made. Mera Petrovic. The moment the door closes behind David and Alina, Lucas is on. His laptop, his fingers flying across the keyboard with a fierce determination, on pacing the floor, back and forth. The name a drumbeat, in my head. Mera, 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 Mera. It is a real name. A piece of the truth, my truth. Okay, there are few public records, Lucas says, his face illuminated by the screen's glow. A woman with that name seems to have lived in Chicago in the late 90s, but nothing recent. Let's try social media. He types the name into Facebook. There are a few. Wait, Izzy, look at this one. He turns the laptop towards me, and the world stops turning. It's a public profile. The name is Mera Petrovic. The current city says Chicago, Illinois. But it's the profile picture that steals the air from my lungs. It's a woman in her late 40s, maybe early 50s. Her hair is darker than mine, and life has carved lines of sorrow and resilience onto her face. But we have the same eyes, and dark, we have the same curve of the mouth. And there, just above her left eyebrow, is the same small, distinct mole that I see in my own reflection every single day. It's like looking at a photograph of my own future. It's her, the woman, who smelled of citrus. The woman who screamed my name. My hands are shaking so badly, I can barely hold the laptop. My finger trembles as I click on her photos. There are recent pictures with friends, smiling, but there's a permanent sadness in her eyes. I scroll back, further and further, years into the past. And then I see it. A post from 15 years ago, shared every year on the same date. It's a scanned image of a faded, tattered, hand-drawn flyer. A child's face, crudely but lovingly sketched. And beneath it, text in what I now realize is Bosnian, and then in broken, desperate English. Have you seen my daughter, Milena? For years taken from apartment in Chicago. She is my life. Please, Milena. The name from the scream. It wasn't just a sound. It was my name. A sob tears through me. A sound of such profound, agonizing grief and overwhelming relief that it shakes my entire body. This wasn't an adoption. This wasn't a rescue. This was a mother's worst nightmare. A desperate, heartbroken woman searching for her stolen child for a quarter of a century. We have to contact her, Lucas says, his own voice thick with emotion. He helps me type the message. My fingers feel clumsy and stupid, disconnected from my brain. What do you say to the mother you thought was a ghost? How do you bridge a gap of 25 years in a few sentences? My name is Isabel Peterson. I am 28 years old. I have reason to believe this is not my real name. I believe I may be your daughter, Milena. We hit send, and we wait. The minutes stretch into an eternity. Every notification sound from the laptop is a physical jolt to my system. Then, less than 10 minutes later, a reply. A string of frantic messages. My God, oh Moj Bose, is this real? Please, can we talk? Can I see you? Here is my number. I have WhatsApp. Please now. Lucas's hands are shaking now, too, as he sets up the video call. My heart is pounding against my ribs so hard I think it might break through. The screen goes blank, then flickers to life. And she's there, Liv. Her face, older than the pictures, etched with a lifetime of pain, fills the screen. Her eyes, my eyes lock onto mine. Tears are already streaming down her face. Silently, as if they've been waiting to fall for years. Milena, she whispers, her voice thick with a Bosnian accent and 25 years of suffocated grief. Mera, I whisper back, the name feeling like a prayer on my tongue, and the story comes tumbling out, a torrent of truth that washes away all the lies. Not the sanitized, self-serving fable my kidnappers told me, but the raw, brutal reality. She was a political refugee from the war in Bosnia. Martha, whose real name was Elena, was a fellow immigrant she'd hired as a part-time nanny while she worked to low-wage jobs, saving every penny. Elena and her husband David had their own immigration applications denied. They were facing deportation, so they made a plan. A monstrous, desperate plan. They saw my mother, a single woman with no family in this new country and a limited grasp of English, as an easy target. They didn't rescue me. They stole me. They drugged my mother's tea, took me from my bed in the middle of the night, and fled Chicago, driving across 3 states to a small town where no one knew them. They used my status as the dependent child of a refugee to file a new, fraudulent asylum claim under new names, which was granted. I wasn't just a daughter to them. I was their passport. I never stopped looking. Milena, she sobs, holding up the tattered, faded flyer to the camera so I can see it clearly. Every day, for 25 years, They told the police I was unstable. They said I sold you the police. They didn't look hard. I was just another poor immigrant woman nobody cared about. But in my heart, I knew you were alive. I knew it. I'm weeping now, openly, for the first time. Not with panic or confusion, but with the pure, cleansing pain of a truth finally found. Lucas has his arm around me, holding me together as my world is unmade and remade in the same moment. This woman on the screen isn't a ghost. She's my mother. And she never, ever, for a single second, gave up on me. The next day, Mara took the first bus from Chicago. Meeting her at the station was the most surreal and profoundly real moment of my life. She was smaller than I imagined, but she radiated a strength that was humbling. The moment she wrapped her arms around me, the smell of citrus and safety from my fragmented memories was real, solid, and overwhelming. It was her. I was home. We walked into the police station together. This time, I wasn't a hysterical woman with a wild theory and a handful of doctored photos. I was a woman with her mother. We had evidence. Mara had the original police reports filed in Chicago, yellowed with age. She had the missing person flyers. She had 25 years of unwavering pain written on her face, and I had my story. My real story. The case was reopened and escalated with astonishing speed. Local police handed it over to federal agents. It wasn't just a kidnapping. It was a complex, long-term case of immigration fraud built on one of the most heinous crimes imaginable. David and Elena were arrested at their perfect suburban home. The news footage showed them being led away in handcuffs, their faces pale and slack with disbelief. The illusion of their respectable lives shattered in an instant for the whole world to see. The trial was a blur of legal jargon and painful testimony. I had to give a victim impact statement. Standing there, in that courtroom, looking at the two people who had stolen my life, I found a voice I never knew I had. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I simply told the truth. I spoke of the fog, the feeling of otherness, the hollow space inside me that I could never understand. I spoke of Melina, the little girl whose screams were silenced. I spoke of the mother who never gave up hope. I was reclaiming my narrative, word by painful word, faced with overwhelming evidence and Mara's powerful, heartbreaking testimony. They were found guilty on all counts: kidnapping, unlawful imprisonment, conspiracy to commit immigration fraud. The judge's sentence was resolute and severe. Their fraudulently obtained American citizenship was revoked. After serving their prison sentences, they would be deported. Justice, when it finally came, was absolute. They had stolen a child to steal a country, and in the end, they were left with nothing. No child, no country, only their crime. A year later, life is new. It's unfamiliar, unstructured, and utterly, terrifyingly, wonderfully true. My name is Melina now. I'm learning how it feels on my tongue, learning the shape of it. Sometimes, I still answer to Isabel, a phantom limb of a life that no longer exists. Healing isn't a straight line. My sister Nina is struggling. Her entire world was built on the same lie as mine, but she was a willing, if ignorant, participant. She called me a few months ago. The conversation was stilted, awkward, full of long silences. "I'm sorry," she'd said, her voice small. "I never knew, but maybe I should have. You never seemed to fit." It was a clumsy offering, but it was a start. We are tentatively trying to build a bridge, not as the Peterson sisters, but as two women connected by a shared, strange history. Mara now lives just a few towns over, in a small apartment that smells of her cooking spices I don't recognize, and the comforting scent of citrus. We are rebuilding what was stolen from us, one day at a time. It's not a fairy tale reunion. It's awkward and beautiful, and sometimes painful. We are, in many ways, strangers, learning each other's habits, favorite foods, and the stories of the 25 years we lost. But we are strangers with the same eyes, the same blood, the same deep, instinctual bond that survived a quarter-century of silence and lies. Last week, she taught me a Bosnian lullaby she used to sing to me, and as she sang, a ghost of a memory surfaced. A feeling of being rocked to sleep, safe and loved. Lucas and I are getting married next spring, on the beach. It will be a small ceremony. Our guest list is short, but it's real. And at the top of that list is Mera Petrovic, my mother. Sometimes, a flicker of the old conditioning remains of phantom guilt for the pain I caused the people who raised me. But then I look in the mirror, and I see Milena. I say the name out loud. Milena, it feels like breathing after being underwater for a very long time. It feels like coming home to myself. They stole my memories, my name, my mother. They built a cage of carefully curated lies and called it a life. But they couldn't steal the truth. The truth was always there, waiting patiently in the scent of an orange. In a mother's undying hope, in the echo of a scream behind a closed door, the truth waited for me to be strong enough to find it. And now, I am no longer a ghost in a fabricated story. I am the author of my own. And for the first time in my life, I am free.